Ambassadorial is the favourite here. Colt by Elusive Quality, who's already won in listed company, for Mick Halford and Shane Foley. They were champion jockey and trainer at Dundalk throughout last season. And this horse beat Executive Force in the listed race. That was the Star Appeal Stakes back in October, having made a winning debut at this track. So clearly likes the track. Looked progressive last year. Every reason to expect this horse is going to win again. Yeah,
it's a very good field, though. I mean, what he's up against today is...
sounds like you think one of the O'Brien horses might beat him.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious one is War Secretary. Looks really progressive. Now, he is a war front, and there's the worry with the war fronts that they don't really train on, but he's very unexposed. He only had the 2 starts, and that win did come when he got rid of the maiden tag. It was back in October at Dundalk last time we saw him. That was a good performance. He won really easily. I thought Holmesman, the one that was back in second, that was his only run, he went off 5-2 favourite, and you could see why he was favourite the way he ran out the race. He was just a bit green earlier on and got a bit outpaced, but he could turn out to be something fairly decent. Now, there's nothing much has come out of that race, but nothing much has come out of Ambassadorial's race at Dundalk either. That was a listed race. They went a fair gallop that day as well, and the time was 3 seconds quicker than War Secretary's time for the same distance. But War Secretary's race was a totally different type of race. It was very much run at a sedate pace. I wouldn't be worried about that. He won really cosily as well that day. So he was a 2-year-old then, he's now a 3-year-old. He should have filled out a little bit more, and I'd just be expecting a bit more from him now. And just at the prices, he's 5-2, whereas Ambassadorial is at 11-8. I'd rather have the 5-2. Intelligence Cross we have to mention. We've also got to mention Noivado as well, because he's the one that they've been backing at prices. Noivado currently at 8-1 for Gerald Lyons, who's in brilliant form, Colin Keane. But also Intelligence Cross, I mean, he ran at the Breeders' Cup. He was behind the Oscar Performance back in 9th place. He was 11-2, beaten 7 1/4. That's pretty decent form, you know, we're talking about a Friday night at Dundalk, and I know it's a listed race, but that is really serious form. But, you know, he's at 9-2 for a reason. Before that run at the Middle Park, he had won a Group 3 very easily. We've got to mention Hit the Bid as well, who's now at 14-1. I mean, Hit the Bid, he won a Group 3 at the Curragh back in August as well for Darren Bunyan. Would appear to be up against it a little bit, but there was money about from him earlier on. And the other one is Holistic Approach for Jim Bulger, won well on debut at the Curragh over 6 furlongs, and then ran the Group 3 at Leopardstown back in October. He'd have to improve. He didn't run his race at all that day. He was 3-1 joint favourite. So, you know, I just think it's more open than would suggest. And when you get a race like that that's as open as that, I'm not really that keen on having an 11-8 shot. But Ambassadorial, as they say, look, it's a cliche, he's done nothing wrong. He'd have a strong chance, obviously, but he is at 11-8. So I'm just going to side with War Secretary. But there's some depth in this race. Like this, you know, there's some very good horses. These are group horses, mostly. Yes,
good of the race. Let's talk about some of the outsiders. Hit the Bid, you mentioned briefly for Lee Roach rides. That one was a winner. Couple of starts ago. Ran the Flying Shoulders at Doncaster last time. Off for a while. Up in distance. I think this is debut on the Potter track as well. So a few imponderables there.
Well, he is a Group 3 winner at the Curragh, and he will probably break quickly and take him along quickly. It's interesting to see they're back in Intelligence Cross laid on now, 5s into 3-1. And he's the one who's got the class form in the book. You know, when you look at that, the fact that he's been to the Breeders' Cup, the fact that he was run Group 1 at Newmarket over 6 furlongs, and he won so easily at the Curragh in a Group 3 back in August. I mean, this is only a furlong beyond that as well, and he's back now into 3-1. You got Donncha O'Brien on board, Shamie Heffernan on War Secretary. So how do you equate all of that, you know? So
I think sometimes, I know it's not proven, but some of the O'Brien horses that have a lot of runs as 2-year-olds maybe show good form.
Yeah,
I prefer the ones like War Secretary that have had like a couple of runs where you saw. I mean, just using Air Force Blue as a benchmark last year was a brilliant 2-year-old, obviously, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Unstoppable at 2, didn't train on. Not saying that's going to happen with Intelligence
Cross. It's happened to a lot of them. You look back at Johannesburg, won 7 times as a 2-year-old and didn't win as a 3-year-old. You know, yeah. So it definitely does happen. And look,
just think Intelligence Cross might have peaked last year. I could be wrong. He could come out and win this, but
yeah. I mean, the problem is they're both war fronts, and both war fronts generally have a reputation for not training on. Look, I named my cunners to the mast at the start of the preview with War Secretary, but I would be worried about Intelligence Cross, the fact that money's come from. And I'm probably doing a disservice to Ambassadorial. The only reason why I'm talking more about the others is because he is 6-4, and it is a competitive race with a bit of depth in it. We'll stick with War Secretary, but this is a really good race for Friday or Wednesday night. Nearly said Friday night. Feels like it.
Not yet. It's not. Here we go. Let's go. 6-4 the field for the feature. Let's go live.
As they break away and make their way down the far side, Hit the Bid shows just in front, War Secretary, and down the inside of him is Intelligence Cross as the three lead Nevado. They're being followed by Ambassadorial, and the back marker is Holistic Approach. Racing on now down the far side, and it's War Secretary who moves now to pick up by Intelligence Cross, Dundalk O'Brien on the outside of Hit the Bid and Lee Roach. Nevada, Colin Keane next, and then 2 lengths to Ambassadorial, who's followed by Holistic Approach. They're on the run now across on the approach towards the straight. War Secretary going along in front, Hit the Bid on the inside of Intelligence Cross. Nevada is just behind them, a few lengths in front of Ambassadorial and Holistic Approach, passing the 3 and rounding the bend to turn for home. And War Secretary leads as they turn in the Avenue Inn Dundalk Patton Stakes. War Secretary, Intelligence Cross, Hit the Bid the far side. Nevada, Ambassadorial down the outside, and Holistic Approach as they race with a furlong and a half to go. War Secretary in front in the centre, pressed by Intelligent Cross. Nevada making good ground the near side. They're followed by Ambassadorial. Nevada now hits the front on the near side of War Secretary. Ambassadorial in third. War Secretary battling back on the far side as they go to the line. And War Secretary and Shamie Heffernan come back to beat Nevada. Ambassadorial is third, and fourth home is Intelligence Cross, Holistic Approach, and Hit the Bid.
Well, that was a game effort, wasn't it, by War Secretary, who wins it under Seamus Heffernan. Caught by War Front, given a good word by Kieran O'Sullivan here in the studio. I think he's just got there from Novado. He's run a big race for Joe Lyons and Colin King. Yeah, he's won by a good head in the end, isn't he? Pretty clear cut. War Secretary, the winner, number 6, has beaten number 5, Novado. He's run a good race on his seasonal reappearance. And back in third was the favourite. You were right to take on Ambassadorial, who came very wide in the home straight. But I thought War Secretary was vulnerable at the furlong pole. Looked like they were going to go past him, but he kept finding. Yeah,
in fairness, I mean, you did say out of the O'Brien ones yourself, Enzo, that you'd have preferred him out of those two, so we've got to give you a nod in your direction too. I agree with you, though. I thought he was beat a furlong from home when Novado came up alongside for Ger Lyons, especially given the form that they're in, and Colin Keane rides.
Just thought here he was going to go past him. Looked like that.
He did,
before the shot change.
Now, I mean, there's been a lot of controversy, I suppose, recently about Aidan O'Brien, and there's, you know, obviously you had that thing about the horse at Dundalk Music Box, wasn't it, in terms of whether he achieved his best position. Well, certainly that one anyway he did, and I don't think in a listed race it comes into it anyway, because you want to win a listed race anyway, don't you? So, but he certainly wanted to get.
It's a nice source, and he got American Dirt pedigree, hasn't he? War Front, out of a Maria's Mon Mare. I mean, it's all screaming kind of artificial surface, isn't it? His pedigree.
It is, and because by War Front, where you go with Intelligence Cross, it's hard to.
He's going to be hard to place, isn't he, Intelligence Cross? Because he's obviously going to have a high rating on last year's form. I'm not sure he's going to be up to winning at sort of even Group 3 level this season on that evidence, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, one thing I would say is I thought
it's his first run, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
I know that was a listed race, but that was like a Group 3 race when you look at it, because you've got a couple of Group 3 winners in there. You've got a horse who's running in Grade 1 races. You've got some very good horses. I just thought there was a lot of depth in that race, and good performance. So good ride from Shamie Heffernan to get War Secretary back up. And I think, obviously we're happy with it. We were keen on him. And, but I think if you're on Novado, my heart goes out to you, because he certainly looked, he would have traded very short and run. He looked the most likely winner, didn't he?
He did. I think he possibly put his head in front as well. I think maybe just briefly, although it's difficult.
I think so, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I think he did. But the second favourite, should I say, has done it well. And look, again, I mean, we were on for Dundalk last week, and Dundalk seems to go through phases where they have a lot of favourites winning. Last week they'd none winning. There was a joint favourite, and there was one favourite won at Wexford. Tonight again, they're a favourite won the first, but we haven't seen much in the way of favourites winning there at Dundalk tonight. But it is a second favourite going in, so at least we got that. We've got a few more races to go yet, though. But it's nice to get that one up and get another one or two. That would be even better.
Yeah, well done. So winner for you with War Secretary, the 5-2 second favourite, beats Novado at 8-1. They sent Ambassadorial off as the favourite there, and that was unplaced at 6-4. It was a neck in the end, the winning margin, so it was quite clear cut, wasn't it? That's Seamus Heffernan coming back in on the winner. Well done to him. And it goes the way of Aidan O'Brien's War Secretary. Caught by War Front, has made it 2 wins from 3 starts now in his career. Very lightly raced indeed, but lands that contest at Dundalk. We will take a break. when we come back, we'll come back and show you what happened at Aqueduct in the 7:29 race.